It's been raining and I moved the van quite smartly into a position where I will not get stuck in the mud high up in the mountains. And the evening sun is actually coming out right now, and I'm standing next to an abandoned church. And it's very, very muddy here on the ground, but I think I'm standing good, so I'll get away from here. Because I got stuck once in France and I had a farmier pull me out of the coincé dans le keuf, dans le meuf. Coincé dans le meuf. The coif, keuf? I already forgot. I think it was coincé dans le meuf. Anyways, so as some of you already noticed, I've left the kin community, and by kin community I mean that kin community, because there could be many communities in theory. And I've started dedicating my time 100% on kin.top. So anytime I actually develop something, I actually go to kin.top and develop on there. And it's been really good, to be honest. And I've always said the way I feel it. I've never tainted my feelings towards many things. Um Actually, it was very good leaving that kin community, because I realized, you know, when people see me from the outside, they only see what they know logically. So they don't know that, I'm an energy healer, that I helped thousands of women with their problems, that I was doing tantra massages, that I was doing completely other things in my life as well. Also running some of, when the internet started, some of the biggest websites on the planet at that time, because at that time it was quite easy to have a large website. So, for example, I had one of the largest techno websites in the world. It was the second largest one, but it was already large, just receiving 1,000 of visitors a day. That was back in the day, that was a lot. So I did many different projects, many different things in my life. And now with AI, with artificial intelligence, it started to make sense to try something new again. Hi, Pratyush Kumar. And the reason it made sense to try something new was because before, everything that you inputted into the computer, everything that you inputted into your project, you had to put like 100 units in, and you would be happy if you got 1 unit out. Okay? That was the reality of startups. Take, for example, Pinterest. I'm just going to name one of these startups, right? Pinterest, in its first 1 to 2 years of operation, didn't have any users. It had like 10,000 users and nobody was using it. It was very hard to get it off the ground. People were saying they're crazy and all that kind of stuff. And then after like staying persistent to it, the CEO, the team stayed persistent to it. After 1 or 2 years, it started to go viral. I don't know what the reason was. I'm not familiar in detail why it went viral, but it took that long. Sometimes these things take a long time. One of the sites that in its niche was the largest sites in existence that I built, in that niche, it was the largest site. It took literally 2 years before it started growing. So these things don't take off right from the first day or within a few days or something like that. If you don't have a marketing budget, you don't have a team, it takes a long time to build this stuff. So you got to be super, super, super patient while still building. So the frustration starts to come in when you always put in 100 and you receive 1 or 0 out. And that's basically one of the major problems of success on the internet. Because if you get a job, if you go to a job interview and you start working immediately, the first month you're already receiving your first paycheck. That's not how it works with startups. So depending on how the startup is set up, of course, as well. But with AI, with artificial intelligence, you put in a unit of say 1, but you get an output of 100. And if you use it very intelligently, you can even get it higher. Sometimes lower, sometimes higher. But the input is always lower than the output, which makes it also psychologically much more fun to be an entrepreneur, to be a startup guy, to run your own company, because you're just putting in one and you're getting 10 out. So that's where the moment came where it was like, okay, let's build something new. Let's build something that hasn't been tried before. And what I'm trying to do is build a complete social network with all kinds of features, completely built on AI, on artificial intelligence. I'm mostly using Claude or Anthropic, basically API. And I built my own development environment to speed up the process of development, which in many cases, I'd say about 50%, the own development environment has sped up that development rapidly. So what happens is that we basically already have a Reddit clone, not in its full capacity, but in its MVP, minimal viable product capacity, that now exists on Kin.top. It's already functioning. People are using it. So having the absolute basic functionality already running, I can start to build things on top of it, which have the social network at its core as the kind of like needed core functionality in order to build on top of it. So now I'm, for example, putting dating also in there, because dating is not a niche anymore. It's not like 5% of people that are single use online dating. It's like literally 50 or more percent. And more people are single. So it makes sense. You could even say that dating becomes a mass product. Okay. It's not just a product anymore, which functions within a niche. And I like the idea of global dating. I don't like the idea of local dating. Now, for most people, local dating makes a lot of sense because they have their workplace, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like dating becomes very interesting when it's combined with astrology. So we have a full astrology profile on Kin.top. And it also becomes interesting when that dating matchmaking based on astrological profiles is available worldwide. So there's a tons of things that I want to build on Kin.top, which to the uninitiated, non-AI startup person or people looking in from the outside would be like, you're crazy. Why are you building all of these features? Why don't you just build one feature really good? The reason is because with AI, you can go horizontally and vertically in your service offerings without any friction and no waiting time and without bugs. So usually, what is the reason that you would not want to go vertically or horizontally with your product right from the start? It's basically because you're trying to use the resources that you have and actually attack a certain problem, not spending your resources on other things. But when you actually have AI, which can do everything at the same time, kind of, and the further we go into the future, the more it will be available in that regard, then you can actually build anything on top of it and without limits. And that makes it really, really, really interesting. So basically, Kin.top will become a Facebook, kind of. It will become a Facebook, but without the limitations of Facebook, because Facebook in itself has a couple of core features like friends, timeline, groups, maybe marketplace, um, what else? And that kind of like kind of like social network aspect then finds its limits, kind of, you could say. And it has messaging, of course. But what can you put on top of it that is unique, that is special, that has a USP, which, if it's built into a social network, has this network effect built in. Because I give you an example. If I were to launch a dating website and call it just blah blah dating.com, okay, whatever, I don't have users. So I would have to spend massive amounts in marketing and other kind of, tips, SEO tricks, to get the site rolling, and it would take years. Now, if you build it on top of a social network where there's like a general network of people using it in all kinds of topics, and you put something on top of it, then you instantly have, the users that are using the core functionality also in your niche functionality. And this is something that, I think, a lot of startups, um, lack. They don't have the access to all of these users. And I think this is what can set Kin.top apart from a lot of other projects. And the other thing is, because I'm running it on my own using an AI, I'm tremendously flexible into which direction to go or how I develop this. And I develop it basically on an intuitive feeling. Like, if I use the app on my own, if I use certain features on my own, what do I like, what I don't like? And especially, I can fix things very quickly. For example, I didn't have an account deletion function because nobody needed it up to that point. And yesterday or 2 days ago, somebody wrote me an email. It was like, I want to delete my account. It took me literally, with AI, it took me 20 minutes to get all of the data off from the user, delete it from the server, and the AI script built that. Because otherwise, I would have probably built something really quick that, would have left, things on the server, in certain tables or something on the database or something like that, which, would have, clogged up the database over time. But AI, I just basically use my own development environment, and within 20 minutes, I have the delete account function finished. And as that is finished, these basic core functionalities, I'll start every time I'll start to build on top of Kin.top, it will become better and better and better and better, because I'll start to shift the focus on just core functionality of a social network to actual usability and user experience. Now, I've been 2 days with very slow or almost no internet, and I lost my optical glasses. I need to make new glasses. And until then, it's very hard for me to work on the computer. Not because I don't see, but it just causes eye strain. So I'll just, have to get new glasses now, and so I can, do another full. Because I've been doing literally full days on it, like 10 to 13 hours per day, just using AI building the site. Now, uh, I'm surprised how many people actually like the site at the stage that it is at. And I already see things that I want to build in, which I haven't yet, but they're going to come very soon. For example, I want to have a photo wall. A photo wall is basically something where the only thing you see on the page are photos. A little bit later, there are going to be videos, and you can just scroll through the photo wall, and just by clicking on a photo, it instantly opens up. You can comment on it, something like that. And kind of like a very simple, intuitive user interface, very sleek for photos. So especially, this is especially for women, so they can like, scroll, all day long if they want to, depending how many, photos are there, just scroll all day long and just kind of like go through them in a very intuitive way. I even thinking of, like, if you have the photo wall without spaces between the photos, it's literally just photos packed to each other, and you click on it and instantly opens, then you have the video, the photo in big. You can instantly comment, like, all these regular, like, kind of features, and then maybe even like flick to the right or to the left or something like that, where you can instantly scroll through the next photos of the same user. So you're kind of like seeing the photo wall of everyone, which would then be somehow with a trending algorithm. And then you click on one and you can quickly go then through. So I'm going to think of these. I'm going to try to be innovative with the user face and the interface and the user experience. And I'm going to really try to use what is available to me with the AI to build kind of these new things. We will see where the limits are and what is possible. Now, also real time functions. The chat must become real time. We have a very good chat right now, but it's not real time. Unless you reload the page, then you see the next kind of like updates, or if you click on your conversation, refresh the conversation, you see the updates, but it's not real time yet. That's gonna come. And and translations, of course, because I want it to be available all over the world. So these kind of things are going to be there as well. And the good thing is with AI, I don't have to stress myself. So if there's 1 or 2 or 3 days that I don't work because I was doing other things this morning, as I didn't have internet connection, I was just jogging basically in nature here, and that I don't have to worry about it because the next day AI picks up where I left off. So it's not like, oh my god, I lost 2 days of work. It's actually, you have to, with AI, it's not so much about the work itself. It still is a bit, but it's mostly now about your creativity. How creative are you using AI, and what is where do you want to go and have AI solve that problem? So it's not so much anymore about doing the work, it's more about being creative and having the good ideas. And technological limitations, of course, as well, partially. So I've left the kin community. I'm super happy I left the kin community. I'm happy I'm not putting anything into there, and I'm happy I'm not receiving anything from there. And actually I'm actually disappointed by how the community is moving forward in terms of sluggish and unprecise and unproductive and very low ROI. So, for example, they're posting stuff on Kin Ecosystem on the Twitter that is actually causing them to lose subscribers. And we had a private chat. I told them my idea of increasing subscribers, and and one of the people said, "Yeah, we'll set it up. We'll do this really quickly. I could do this tomorrow." Blah blah blah. And instead, there's been other stuff again then posted, and that caused them to lose more subscribers even. So I'm happy to not have anything to do with that anymore. They can do whatever they want on their own turf, kind of, and leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna do my own thing. And I've been asked like 6 times, why do I have to use the kin cryptocurrency, Twitter? Why do I have to kind of post in the name of kin cryptocurrency? First of all, the whole thing is decentralized, so there could be 1,000 kin cryptocurrency accounts. I just happen to be the first one, and I feel that the ethos of, it's gonna sound harsh for people who are in the kin community, but I think I actually represent the crypto ethos better than they do, because they're extremely closed-minded, extremely conservative, extremely slow-moving, extremely judgmental, and I'm actually exactly the opposite. I'm like, I'm happy if Bitcoin wins. I'm happy with Kin wins. If Solana wins, I'm happy if everything just grows, and it gives us more freedom, more privacy, more all of this stuff. The typical crypto ethos, and it has a partial wild side to it as well. So it's like, you don't have to be so conservative and so tied down and so kind of like, I don't know what the English word is, kind of like stuck up your ass kind of like attitude. And the kin community, that I always like to say the kin community, because there is no one. It's a made up idea of the one kin community. It could be a million. So and they feel like if you're not part of that ant colony, that you're actually working against them or something. It's all bullshit anyway. So kin.top will keep using AI 90%. It's also a challenge. It's a very interesting challenge, because the idea is to only use AI and see how far I can go with it, because literally, like, there is no way to have any success with this if I were just doing it on my own and coding everything on my own and literally trying to do everything manual. It would make absolutely zero sense. So it will be interesting how far this can go. And I'm pretty sure that at some point somebody else is gonna have the same idea. I just happen to be one of the first ones to build a social network completely based on AI. But I think there will be others, and they will probably be better than me. But the interesting thing about something is about success is dependent on consistency. And what most engineers lack is a grand vision and a consistency. So they'll try something for a few weeks, for a few months, and then they'll get distracted. And I used to have that as well, but it had a different source. It wasn't because I wasn't able to stick with one project. It was more basically that the slow moving development of something was actually the boredom of itself. So the actual work of doing the coding was boring me. And that's why I then switched up to different projects. With AI, this is completely gotten rid of because it's becoming exciting to work on it rather than boring. And just general about crypto, I wouldn't worry about it at all. I think the German government is selling bitcoins and all of that stuff, and I think that will within 2-3 months everybody will forget about it, and probably there will be new highs. So I wouldn't worry about that at all. So uh do we have a chance with Kindle Top? Does it have a chance to literally become big? It depends on the feeling you have while you're using it. If you feel that within certain aspects of the app, the site, it gives you a better feeling, not just features, but a better feeling than some of the other major competitors out there. So let's say you have Instagram, Facebook, all of these, and there is a niche around that where it makes you feel like, I really like this. I really like coming back to it daily and using that particular feature. Then, yes, it has a chance. Otherwise, no. And I think we're not there yet. We're coming close to it, but it's not there yet. And I think it will take probably another 2, 3, 4 weeks of using AI, improving different things to get there. And I think one of the major things to get there is make everything real time. So all the notifications, and also make it more like app like. That when you open it, you feel more like using an app rather than a website. I think that's also part of it. And of course SEO. We have to get traffic from Google sooner or later. I'm not so focused on it right from the start. My motto with Kin.top, my literal motto is features, features, features. They must have good features and be easily usable and accessible. Only those two things. Everything else is a bonus. So if I do SEO and make that really nice and people come from Google, that's nice. But in first and foremost, I want features, features, features. So, for example, the astrological matchmaking. It must be really cute. It must be easily accessible. People must feel like they want to come back daily and check if there is a new member, how they match up with them, kind of that. And that's super unique because no social network has smart astrological matchmaking, for example. I don't know of any. And if there is one, it's a tiny niche that they haven't conquered yet. But I think that if everything comes together, and it has also a lot to do with intuitive flow. So you kind of like open it and you expect it to do something, and for example, you try to do something specific, and it you need too many clicks. It's too hidden. The flow doesn't work, or you repeat something and the error happens over and over again. These things, all of that needs to flow. The moment that something is stuck, expectations from users are much bigger than they used to be. So you need to fulfill those expectations as well. And so that's kind of like the plan with Kin.top. Features, 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 and easy, accessible, and usable. And we'll just see where it goes from there. The good thing is it's kind of like an unlimited size sculpture, because you can move into any direction anytime, without actually breaking the original idea of functionality. So I could, for example, spin up a new way of browsing the photos or interacting with the photos while the core functionality is still intact. So you can have, for example, 10 different ways of browsing photos, and it doesn't really take away from the social network experience. A Facebook cannot do that. An Instagram cannot do that. So it'll be a super interesting also psychological experiment and technological experiment whether this is possible. And I don't have the ambition to say, yes, I'm going to beat them. Yes, this is going to be huge. It's more of a let's see what happens, as long as it stays fun developing it. And with AI, it's tremendous amount of fun. And but I feel that it must become usable. For example, a Tinder sucks, but it's usable. It's a shitty app, but it's usable, and that makes it people come back to it because it's so simple and usable. So people, even though they might not like it, I bet the actual likability of Tinder in general is pretty low. I think maybe only like 10% of people really like the app, but 100% use it because it's so easy usable and the branding is good. So all of these things must be considered. Uh yeah. So and not being part of that Telegram group feels free. It feels free. It feels I'm not tied down. And the thing also is with AI, it gives you the ability to literally expand in all directions at your own pace without limits. And when you are dealing with people that are closed-minded, simple-minded, small-minded, then you have kind of like on this side you have the AI, which is like boom, okay, in all directions. On the other side, you have like this small-minded community, and if you spend your time in the small-minded community, you are basically wasting your time because with the AI you can go like this. So and that's why I'm at the position where I will definitely not listen to them anymore at all. So whatever they have to say, I'm not listening to them. I'm just building my own thing. And and you have to understand also one thing. I thought about this many years ago, is how many people actually become successful in anything they do in life. And I'm talking about the kind of like the cliche success. It's maybe 1 in 500, maybe 1 in 1,000, maybe 1 in 500. That means 500 people you're talking to are not successful people. And so you shouldn't take advice from them. And I would say, even say that a lot of one out of those 500 doesn't even know why they became successful. Very few people are like Jeff Bezos, which know why they became successful. For a lot of them it has been coincidence, but there are rare incidences like Jeff Bezos that he knows why he became successful. um and I think that 1 in 1,000 you could listen to, but so if you have 1,000 people in a room which is basically just losers, who's going to give you the right advice, who's going to give you the right feedback? So you have to go with your own thing. And I think that's with AI, you suddenly have the better mentor, you have the better coach, you don't need, you actually become an agent of the AI. It's not literally you are the manager, you're the CEO of Kin.top. It's actually the AI is becoming the manager, the CEO. You're just the agent who is actually just saving the code into the code base, basically. That's so the paradigm shift is really rethinking everything that has been known for centuries how work has been done. With AI, it can completely change. There is no boss anymore in that sense. You, as a human, you're actually the agent, and the boss is the AI. And where the AI takes you, you don't know. But you can use your kind of like creativity and your intuition to see, is this good what we are building into there? Do we want that? And do the right prompting. And I want a site that literally that does change your life for the better. And good technology does that. Good technology good technology changes your life for the better, but you must know how to use it, and you must know its limits, and you must also be careful of not becoming a slave of the technology. So, for example, without YouTube, I wouldn't have had a spiritual awakening, which I had through Muji. And Muji puts his team, his Sangha puts the videos on YouTube. If they hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had a spiritual awakening. So my life would have never went this way. Because of Muji awakening, I became a Tantra master. And I have to say, these 3 4 years that I was massaging, sometimes even 3 4 women a day, was the best time of my life. So and I must say also, without WordPress, without domain hosting, without Google Maps, maybe also all of this stuff, I wouldn't have had a business. So I wouldn't have had an awakening. I wouldn't have had a business. For many people, it's like that. So technology can be a huge thing to creatively be able to do what you want to do, because otherwise you might have, if your father grandfather has had, some, farm on the countryside, you would have probably taken over the farm and that's it. And if you've bought one tractor in, in 2 generations, the whole family would have been excited to have a tractor. Now you literally have the possibility to make a living, to earn from your kind of like soul desire. I call this soul desire. Is basically not just doing what everybody else is doing, but really being creative from your soul. And I think this is what technology is for. And I think as when if you don't have that in your vision when you're creating technology, you don't understand technology, because technology is not there to enslave us; is there to empower us. So we can be soul creative. We can say, this is my energy field. This is what I want to create in this world. This is what I want to do. And then have technology manifest that, basically. So if you're saying, I want a partner, you go on an internet dating site. I want to buy a house, you go on, I don't know, realestate.com, whatever. And that's what it should be about. And this is what every startup needs to have in their vision, is how can technology make your life better, and but not make you addicted to it. It must become a tool, just a tool for improving your life. And sometimes a conversation can improve your life, because, for example, I just learned to create this hydration drink, very simple hydration drink, and I'll build this into my routine, and I posted this on Kin.top. So anybody who sees it on Kin.top and reads it, it could affect their life as well. So and those are things. It has also to do with a paradigm shift and an understanding, a red pilling of our society and our consciousness, that the things that were in the past thought to be true, we are finding out they're not so true. From, I don't know, from Jeffrey Epstein to, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't have to be this, this profound, horrible stuff, but any kind of education that we've received, we're figuring out, wait, these things are not the way that we've been taught. And so any kind of communication between people has the potential to waken up the consciousness from realizing that we've been lied to by the history of the people who write the books, kind of. So that's also a huge part of being an entrepreneur and a developer, is breaking the chains of false past information. And these things are, it's a philosophical, but it's also it's a fundamental and logical evolution from on a spiritual side. So technology in a sense is also a spiritual technology, because it switches it shifts your consciousness into a different type of awareness. And I think anybody who's a visionary must understand this, because otherwise they're building something, otherwise they're building sandcastles and they're perpetuating lies. So if you have a Twitter that bans and censors people like they did before Elon Musk, you're basically just propagating and continuing the lies of society. And this is where we have to recognize that technology becomes a social, a spiritual technology, where the only way to progress forward is to by breaking that mold of past information and also monopoly of information. And so this is going to be super interesting in which direction AI will enable us to move more into spiritual technology. And the progress is there, definitely, no doubt about it. And yeah, uh the good thing is that AI allows me also to take breaks, like I said a little bit before. So I can take a break, I can go jogging, I can be with nature, and I don't have the feeling that I'm losing tremendous time, because otherwise I would feel, I have to work all the time, all the time, all the time. Now I just take a day a break, and then I get a good idea, come back to the site, fresh, fresh mind, fresh ideas, and I'll see, oh, okay, this is not the way I want to open the app. This is not the way it should work, blah blah blah. And then I'll just put it into the AI. 20 minutes later I have an update. So it's a tremendous change, and it will be interesting to see which way it goes. Um so anybody who's watching me from the kin community, don't be alarmed, don't be afraid. I'm not never gonna be in there again, ever, no matter what anybody says. And I'm just going to use Cold Wallet, the technology, and I'm going to use whatever presents as good technology to be used in Kin.top. And I don't feel there's any need for any interaction at all, to be quite honest. And if the 2-3 people that are from Kin, or from Kin community, I hate to say it because it always feels like one group, but it's not. If let's say 3 stakeholders of Kin or 5 use the site, fantastic. If they love it and they join me in that kind of like, um I let me remove that guy here. Okay. I think that's it. And enjoy Kin.top. Give me feedback, whatever you want. I'll see if I can build in. I'm getting some feedback already from users, and I usually, if I have access to the internet and everything, I'll try to, fix it within, if I'm on the computer, I'll fix it immediately, whatever it is. Um, and and it's a fact that every little thing needs to be fixed. It needs to be ultra smooth. There must be no single bug, because the moment you use a site, especially an unknown site which doesn't have strong branding yet, and something doesn't work, you usually don't come back. We're at the time where you have so many other alternatives, and everything, nothing, let's just say it like this, nothing on the site can be frustrating. If anything is frustrating, it must be immediately changed. And that's why I use it myself though all the time, and post stuff, and of course I like it, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. And just observing myself on how I use it. For example, sometimes you click on something or you do something and it kind of annoys you something, but you're used to like doing it the same way over and over again. So you kind of like you do it 100 times, although it annoys you, and maybe the 101 times is like, come on, let's change it so it's a little bit easier. And I'm trying to change my thinking about this to when I recognize this happening twice, when I try something and it annoys me and it happens a second time, that I'm like reprogramming myself to say, okay, now let's change it immediately. No, let's not wait.